being a white passing Middle Eastern man that lives in Texas has caused me to have some of the weirdest and most interesting interactions. So I thought today I would just share with you guys what it's like being me. That sounds really narcissistic and stupid. Hi guys, my name is Tammam, and if you're new, I'm completely Syrian. Actually, my DNA test doesn't say that I'm completely Syrian. It actually says I'm like 35% white, and like 20% North African and like 40% Middle Eastern. So technically, according to my DNA, I am like 30% white and kind of a mutt. But like both of my parents are Middle Eastern. I was raised Muslim, Syrian as hell. I speak Arabic fluently. As you can see by the way I look, the only minority thing about me is my bushy eyebrows, long eyelashes, and curly hair that everyone thinks is a perm. So because of that, most people usually think I'm white and like don't actually start realizing that maybe I'm not until they hear my name. Every time I meet someone, it's literally the same interaction. Hi, how's it going? I'm Tammam. And then after repeating my name like 3 or 4 more times, they finally like get to a point where I think they just feel bad about like not being able to say my name and give up and just call me T. Also, the way people say my name is really interesting. Usually it's like Tammam, Tammum, Taman, Temin, Taman. I almost expect people to say my name wrong. Also, recently I've been pulled over a lot, and I realized that for some reason cops like me, but TSA doesn't. Like, I've never had a bad interaction with a police officer, which is surprising to me still because my name is very Middle Eastern, and my ID is very Middle Eastern. I look like a certain somebody that may have done like a tragic event back in some time, especially in my ID picture, and it's caused a lot of problems for me going into airports. So I'm surprised it hasn't caused any with the cops. Like, for example, in TSA, I always get the double check, like the routine double checks. There was this one time that I will never forget when I was at the airport around like 6 a.m., right? And nobody was in the airport. The airport was empty. There were 4 people in the entire TSA line. And the only running metal detector was the one you go through at like events, right? The super simple, basic, like 3 square metal detector that's like the cheapest one. And so everyone was going through that. Everything was going fine. But then when I got there, for some reason, all the TSA people started staring at me. And I was just looking around like, okay, hopefully everything's good. I'm probably just paranoid, like whatever. Once I put my stuff on the conveyor belt, I get in line right behind the last person. And the TSA lady looks at me and goes, "Oh, no, sir, can you go over there and just like stand over there and wait real quick?" These motherfuckers called over 3 TSA agents just to turn on the big metal detector one. You know, the one where you have to put your hands up like this? I was the only one that went through that machine. Everyone else, normal metal detector, no problem. Me, let's call 3 extra TSA agents to get this motherfucker on this machine, because obviously he's a little too Arab right now. Also, recently when I was flying back from like traveling across America, there was this one dude who was going across TSA with me, and they pulled him out of the line and to the front of the line. And as he was passing me, he turned and looked at me and goes, "Sorry, too Middle Eastern." And after getting through TSA, like I saw him and I was like, wait, I want to make sure like I didn't make that up in my head. Like I want to make sure he actually said that. So I went up to him and I was like, "Yo, did you say like sorry, too Middle Eastern to me?" And he goes, "Yeah, my bad, bro. I was just saying that just in case, you know, something happened. I was hoping you had my back." I was like, "Bro, I'm Middle Eastern too." And he looked at me, he was like, "Oh, did they get you?" And I'm like, yeah, that was like one of the only times I went through TSA like undetected. And I was like, yeah, sure. It was weird how I got special privilege that one time. Also, it's really fun sometimes being able to be like a secret agent. Sometimes like racist people will be racist in front of you. It's crazy, okay? Because they think they're like one of you, and then they say some crazy shit, and then you don't react, and you're like, did this motherfucker know that I'm what you're like? You are talking shit about me, and I'm right in front of you. There are 2 times that I actually remember this like vividly happening. One in my childhood and one in my adult life. So when I was a kid, I went to a school that was like really, really white. Like there were 5 black people, maybe 2 or 3 like Hispanic people, and 2 Arabs. And the other Arab that went to my school wasn't bullied because he was, 1, he was cool. He was like part of the cool kids. And 2, he was Christian, which I feel like made a big difference because they couldn't really say like the Muslim jokes to him. So they threw it at me. So I was in Boy Scouts growing up, Cub Scouts, whatever you want to call it. And one time I remember being at one of the Cub Scouts meetings, and the parent was being racist towards my dad. not realizing that he was my dad. My dad is very like Arab presenting and I'm not. So they just had no idea that I was also brown. They thought I was just like some random white kid. And I heard these parents like talking shit about my dad in front of him, being like, oh yeah, I hope we don't like get in the same pack as his kid or whatever. And I'm just like, hello, I am right here. At the time, I was definitely a bitch though. I was like 8 years old and I kind of got scared because I was new and I just kind of didn't say anything and ran. I don't even remember. I don't even think I ever told my dad this story. Also, living in Texas in general just like caused, like I was called a terrorist one time. Every single history class I was ever in, anytime the Middle East came up, everyone would turn to me for information. Like 11-year-old me was being asked by the teacher to explain the Middle East to the class. How are you a teacher that has studied the Middle East and you are like pushing 40 and you're asking an 11-year-old who's been to Syria one time to explain the political and economic state of the Middle East? And the last story I will share with you guys today actually happened less than a year ago. So a lot of the times I'll get really bored and I don't really have that many friends that are impulsive like me. So I'll just like go out and eat on my own. And on this day I was like, you know what? I want to like try something new. I want to try a new spot. So I looked up Google Maps and found this like burger place that seemed really good, had good reviews or whatever. And I went in there and I sat at the bar. It was like a Tuesday. I was like the only one there. So I was kind of just chilling at the bar, ordering food, talking to the bartender, talking to the waitress, being like, hey guys, like what's good here? Just like making normal random small talk, right? I would say like 15 minutes into being in that restaurant, I could tell that the people who own that restaurant were very conservative. And I don't really have a problem with that. I live in Texas. Half the people I know are conservative. Like I can get along with people like that even if you have differing views. I know that's like a controversial take, but like I'm not one that like I'll talk to anyone. I don't really care. But like these guys were they weren't like normal conservatives. They were like, don't really seem to like minority conservatives that might want a white ethno state. So sensing the danger that I might be in if, they knew, I kind of like stopped talking to them and just enjoyed my food. Then it got time to pay for the bill. So I hand the lady my credit card and she goes and like rings me up. And then when she came back with my credit card, she asked me, and I quote,
is that your name on the card?
Yeah.
Like that's your real name?
Yeah, that's my real name. Why? Right after I said that, she looked at me, dropped her smile, and turned around and walked away and never talked to me. She didn't talk to me for the rest of the time that I was in there. Anyways, it's safe to say that I never went back to that burger spot and I left a very harsh and terrible review on Yelp. I'm lying. I should have like charged back the credit card or something too, or like reported them. You can't report racist people. I wish you could report racist people. That'd be kind of cool. We already have cops for white people. We might as well have something for minorities. You know what we need actually? We probably need more like minority cops now that I think about it. It's very rare that you ever get a cop that's not either black or white. Maybe I'm wrong. Someone pull up statistics from the police force and like tell me if I'm wrong, like sure, but this is just like a thought. I've never seen like an Asian cop or an Indian cop or an Arab cop. It's usually that they're either black or white. Like there's not much diversity in the cop space, and I feel like that's actually the issue. Like if there was like more of a diverse pool of cops, then more minorities would be represented and then people wouldn't be afraid of cops. But this is America.